What's up, ECG team? We're back with another video. This time we're in the gym focusing on some chest and triceps. And first things first, I want to apologize for last week. Didn't want to put that video out. I want to put out quality content for you guys always. So I didn't like what we did last week, scrapped it, but this week you're really going to like it. So focusing on the biggest part of your arms, alright? Triceps. Now, your triceps make up 2/3 of your arm, so to say that they're important for big arms is an understatement. And then obviously everybody wants a big, wide chest, so that's our next focus. The reason we put these two together is because they're both push muscles that generally are going to work together. Like, for example, doing any kind of pressing movement, your triceps are going to be the secondary movers, whereas your chest is going to be the first. So, might as well work them out well, you're already hitting them just slightly. Anyway, here we go. First things first, we're going to do an incline chest press. This is one of my personal favorites. It's a really simple move too. It really helps to build the upper part of your chest, get that mass going. So, to initiate, you're going to put the weight down on your knees. You're going to come back and you're going to toss the weight up into a right angle position. Now, you don't want to throw it backwards until you have very good control over the weight you're using. So, start lighter than you think you might have to, and then work your way up. So we're going to want our arms to come down in a right angle. Any further past that, and you're impinging your shoulders a bit, and if we can avoid that, we always want to. So just down to a right angle, keeping your back nice and flat against the bench, and then push up, up, up. Come together at the top, really focusing on getting those elbows together. That squeeze at the top is what's really going to define the muscle. What we're aiming for is 10 repetitions for 4 sets. That's going to be a pretty general rule. Obviously, everything changes as you get to more specific training parameters, but for any of you people that are beginners, even intermediate, even advanced lifters still use this, this is a good rule of thumb, is aim for 10 reps, no more, no less. You want to just be able to get that 10. That works really well for hypertrophy and power, which means muscles actually looking bigger as well as being able to perform the way you want them to and constantly gaining strength. So 10 reps is ideal. Start out with 3 sets, but you can progress your way up to 4. Next up we have a tricep rope pull down. Now, the reason I like this one is because I find it defines the triceps a lot more than any of your regular pull down type movements, because at the bottom of this you're going to notice I split the rope. That split and that turning of the wrists just slightly outward is going to pump the maximum amount of blood into that muscle. It's going to really sculpt it at the end range of movement. So just like with anything else we're doing today, just as a general rule, 10 reps, 4 sets, alright? Let your arms come up to a right angle. Right angles are going to be hugely important today. And then come down, 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 and just at that very last range of motion is when you twist out. That's whenever you turn the wrist and you really try to split that rope at the bottom. Bust out the last few sets, and now we're moving on. How could I possibly forget to introduce my wonderful assistant, Naya Ashland? She's going to be coming into a lot of videos, so keep an eye out. She's going to be a big feature in the next one especially. This next movement is a fly. It's a flat fly. Very simple movement, but in my personal opinion, the best of the best for anybody working on building a bigger chest. Because many people think that the chest's main function is to push things away, when that's not necessarily the case. What your chest does is it adducts. So that means it pulls together. So, whenever you have your hands all the way out, your elbows flat, and you pull them together, you're making your chest activate in the most natural, strongest way that it can. To do a press, you are pushing away, but if you notice, it's actually just your elbows being pulled together. That's your chest function, so this really isolates that. So, let your arms down, and you don't want to lock your arms flat. You want them to be just shy of it, so a little bend in the arms, down, 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 palms facing the ceiling, and then come up, really focusing on that squeeze at the top of the movement. So the closer you can to getting your elbows as close together as you can at the top is really what's going to pump that muscle up. It's really going to push a lot of blood in, and it's going to make it look and act a lot better, that you're not missing out on a single piece of your range of motion with this. And just like with the incline press, don't let your arms come down too far. Perfectly parallel elbow to elbow is what you're aiming for. Your hands and wrists don't necessarily have to be parallel to each other. So what we have coming up here is push-up, but it's specifically targeting the triceps. So generally, the wider your hands are away from each other and out to the side, the more it's going to target the chest. So, because we want to take a break from chest movements for just a second here, you want to pull your arms in as close as you can to your sides, and then you're pushing straight down. The tips of your fingers should be facing the wall in front of you, all right? And your elbows should never disconnect from your ribs. You want to be very straight up and down. That's going to make sure your chest is almost not involved at all, and it's putting all the weight onto the triceps. For some people, especially anybody that just has a heavier body weight in general, these will be pretty tricky to start out with, but do as many as you can, even if that's only 3 or 4, and work your way up to it. To make it even easier, you can take a bench, put it in front of you, and do the same movements off the bench. That'll make it just a bit easier and still provide a good challenge and a good pump for those triceps. So, just like with the rest, obviously, 10 reps is what we're aiming for, but do as many as you can if that's a little on the light side. Now, a good way to really finish off the chest is to do these inclined press-ups. Now, this is one that I don't see a lot of people doing, and especially for this day, it's a little bit more challenging because your triceps actually take a fair amount of the load. But if you take a bench and incline it just a bit, positioning yourself around the head of the bench, and grab onto the sides, making sure that your bone is directly parallel on top of it, like directly over the bench, because it's pretty easy to impinge your wrist while you're doing this. So get your hands positioned nice and flat if possible, and push up and squeeze your elbows together. Your body, you want it to be generally straight, but if you have some slight curve in your legs, that's okay as long as you're pushing straight up at the top to really get that squeeze. This is a good chest finisher because your triceps are taking over, but it's also hard because this is a very tricep heavy day. If you focus on your chest being squeezed on this one, that's really where you're going to feel the difference. Push up, do as many as you can. This one's a little bit challenging, especially because we have it at the end, but push through, get all your sets out, good to go. This next one is weighted dips, or if you're just starting, just regular dips, same exact way without the weight, all right? If you do have a weight, though, the best way to do it, for me anyway, is to put it on my lap, get 1, even 2 arms steadied on the bench right behind you, and walk yourself out. The key here is, like with the other ones, right angles, all right? So let yourself down till your arms behind you are in a right angle, and then you've gone far enough anymore. It's going to impinge the shoulders, and then push straight down in the bench, trying your best to keep your elbows together. For some people, and especially me, because I actually broke my clavicle, I separated it from the shoulder, so that makes it a little bit harder for me to squeeze behind my back. But you want to push your elbows as close as you can together to make them very straight. And then push up, let yourself down to that right angle, push back up. A lot of people I see will put another bench in front of them, and then they'll load the weight on, but that's going to cause a lot of tension on your knees, especially, and it can end up being dangerous if you get to too much weight. So if you have a friend, have them just stack plates on you with bent knees, and it's going to be a lot safer of an exercise. East Coast Grit, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and stay tuned for next week. We're going to have another one in a similar style. I think you guys are really going to like it. East Coast Grit, we're out of here.
Eyes in the sky, gaze gazing far into the night. I raise my head.